Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Mallikarjun. So in this today's session, I'm going to demonstrate on step by step to build and configure your uh, RAC environment, including your grid infrastructure and RAC Oracle database configuration. So this is along with the practical exercise. So step by step, we're going to build our runbook as well. So this runbook is completely empty. So these are the high level step what I thought for this entire video. So these are like typically around 10 to 11 steps. So we are going to build this runbook as at the same time, we're going to set up our lab environment from the scratch so that this can be used for any other future purposes. So if you need any built-in rack setup, so you can follow this run book and then you can configure your own clusterware setup for your testing or whatever the purpose, right? So this is going to be step-by-step guide to installation and configuration of your Oracle 19c rack using VirtualBox. And then high level step on this particular today's session are going to be installation of your VirtualBox, installation of Oracle OEL, Oracle Enterprise Linux 7.9, and configuration of your Dns server, that's a name server, forward name resolution and reverse name resolution, and your scan configuration. And then once you're done with your one VM creation, and then you can clone that VirtualBox, and then you can make it as a 2 cluster nodes, and then you can form a Oracle Clusterware grid infrastructure on using those 2 VMs. And then creating the shared disk between those VM1 and VM2 so that your ASM can be installed and your database can be installed on those shared disk. And then configuration of your Oracle ASM, and then the pre-check for your rack setup, and then installation and configuration of your grid infrastructure for a cluster, that's a 2-node cluster, and then 19c Oracle home installation for those 2-node cluster, and then creation of your rack database on those 2-node cluster setup, and then some of the post checks. These are the high level step what I thought. So let's get started one by one in detail. And then before I get started with the practical exercise, so if you have missed my previous sessions or previous videos, you can always feel free to go back to YouTube and search for Malik 034, and then you can refer any missing videos. And then if you like my videos, please give a thumbs up and like and comment in this video's comment box. Right, so let's come back. The first step is installation of VirtualBox. So it's as good as this is your virtual box manager. So you can download this VirtualBox from the Google, and you can download it. Say as simple as your any software installation on your line in your Windows or in your laptop or whatever. Just kind of download the exe file and then you can just use it. So already installed that one. I'm going to skip that step, and then installation of OEL 7.9. I already covered installation of OEL 5, installation of OEL 6, installation of OEL 7, and installation of OEL 8. So all the various versions of Oracle Enterprise Linux flavor are already covered in our previous videos. So I'm going to skip this particular video, installation of OEL. So rather what I'm going to do, I'm going to import one of my VM. So if you see here, like I already have my Oracle lab here, Oracle lab 1, that's a node 1. It's already set up ready here. So I'm just going to import that one. Just click on that plus button and go to your OEL, and that is your Oracle lab 1, and then select that one. Right, so your Oracle lab 1 is ready now. And then I'm going to start that VM. So that's a ready VM already available. How to install that VM I covered in my previous session. So you can feel free to go and watch that video. What I'll do now, this particular step, the Oracle VirtualBox installation is just any software installation on your Windows or laptop or desktop, any Windows laptop or desktop, which is as simple as that. And then installation of OEL 7.9, it's already covered in my previous session. I'm just going to importing that VM here. Right, so that's getting started now here. It will take few minutes. Okay, it's already done. Let's connect to that. Just go, I'll go with the root user. All right, so I just connected here on my VM. This is my Oracle Lab 1. So I'll just open a terminal, just make it zoom, view, zoom in. Okay, so this is my host name. So this is my Oracle lab1.localdomain.com. If I do cat etc hosts, so I don't have that entry here, so I'm going to add that entry here. I do ifconfig. I see VirtualBox1, VirtualBox2. Okay, I have two interfaces here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just add this entry. Anyway, we can add it later part also. We have two interfaces here. If needed, you can have one more interfaces. I'll just keep it as it is right now. I'm not going to touch anything here. Rather than what we can do now, we can do some configuration. Let's see if I see whether Oracle user is installed here or not. So before that, I will just make sure that this particular IP is accessible through my mobile xterm. So this is my mobile xterm. I'll connect session, copy this IP address here, click OK. Yeah, I'm able to connect to that server. Right. So let's do some pre-checks and post-checks before we proceed with the third step. That's name server configuration. Before that, I'm gonna do some checks. That's one of the checks is your Oracle ID Oracle. So ID Oracle is not installed. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do yum install Oracle star. So yum install Oracle star will install all the prerequisites RPMs along with your Oracle user. Everything will be get created here. So I'm just going to do it here. It says some of the yum process is already in progress. I'll just cancel it. Just verify which process is running. ps-ef grep yum. Okay, this is yum package. It's in progress. I'm just going to kill that one. Kill -9. And then this is the process ID 3131. Done. So now you can go back and start that yum install Oracle star. So that's going to connect to your, okay, that's going to fail. It is giving the recommendation to try using ---- script broken. So I'm going to use the same command, yum install Oracle star ---- script broken. So I'm going to use this command, and then it's going to connect to my Oracle public yum repository, and it's going to install all of these RPMs. I'll just say yes, go ahead. And then, yeah, it's going to install these 25 packages. Let it install. It will take few minutes. And meantime, what we can do now, we will see, we'll modify some of the things for this particular VM. Right now, it has only two interfaces. If I go to this particular Oracle Lab1 setting, and then if I go to network, it has a bridge adapter and it has a NAT adapter. And I'm going to enable one more. One is like your bridge, and is your NAT, and if needed, you can have one more interface. We will see that one after shutting down this particular VM. Right, so this let it get installed, and meantime we can go ahead and create some of the shared disk. That's our third step, I believe. This one is these two, assuming these two are done. I'm doing some of the post checks, and then this I will show you in a minute. And now cloning, we'll see it later. Now creating some of the shared disk. So this creating shared disk, we will see it. Okay, anyway, we'll go one step at a time. Let it get complete. I'll just move this one here. Okay, let it this get complete. Meantime, what we can do, yeah, we can go ahead and create some of the shared disk rather than waiting here. I'll just go back here, go back to your Oracle VM VirtualBox, and click on this particular. Okay, what I'll do before this one, I'm gonna create a directory called a RAC Setup. I'll just make one directory, new folder. I'll do RAC _ setup. So this is my RAC setup here. And then whatever the shared disk we're going to create, I'll create inside this RAC setup. And then whatever this Oracle Lab1, I'll move it here. So I'll go back here. I'll click on this file and virtual media manager. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to add 3 disks. One is your disk 1 and disk 2 and your disk 3. So I'm just going to add it here. Let me take one more note here. I'm going to add disk 1, disk 2, disk 3. So this disk 1 is going to be 1 GB for my OCR and OLR, and then this disk 2 is going to be of 20 GB, and then disk 2 is okay. Disk 3, disk 3 is going to be of 10 GB. Oh, sorry for that, 10 GB. So this disk 1, that is a 1 GB, is going to be for my OCR disk group, and then this one is going to be for my data disk group, and then this 10 GB disk is going to be for my record script. So these are my 3 disks. I'm going to add it here now. Go back here, and then I'm going to click on this create disk, and then VDI disk. Click on this next, and then go with the fixed size, and then you can browse it here, and then place it inside your Oracle RAC setup, whatever this RAC setup, go inside that, and then name you can give it as a disk 1, and then disk 1 or D1. I'll go with the D1. D1 stands for disk 1, or yeah, we'll go with the disk 1 only, whatever the name. Disk 1, save it. So this is your disk 1, which is of 1 GB. I'll make it 1 GB. Create. So this is 1 GB disk, done. And then click on create once again, and then again VDI, and go with the fixed size. Next, go with the RAC setup. Inside that, I'm going to make it as a disk 2, and then I'm going to make it as a 20 GB. Done. This will take 8 seconds approximately. Meantime, we'll go and check whether that yum install is done or not. Yeah, yum install is done here, completed successfully. And then if you do ID Oracle, you see ID Oracle user got created here. Okay, that's great. Yeah, your Oracle, the disk 2 is got created. And then now you can go back and create one more disk. Click on again create, and go with the VDI, and go with the fixed size, and then make it as a disk 3, and then make it as a 10 GB. Done. So you got your disk 1, 2, 3. Go back here in the rack setup, and go back here. You see this is course wheel rack setup. Inside that you got 1 GB, 20 GB, and 10 GB. All the 3 disks are ready now. And then what you need to do here, one important thing, you have to make all these disks as a shareable disk. Just click on this one. What we can do, just go and then properties. Whatever this disk 1, disk 2, disk 3, what you are seeing here, make it as a shareable. So I'll just click on here. I'll make it as a shareable, and then apply. And then I'll again click on this disk 2, and then normal, make it as a shareable, and then apply. And then again disk 3, go here, make it shareable, and apply. That's it. So your disks are ready now. So your disks are ready. We have to attach those disks here in this Oracle Lab 1 and then Oracle Lab 2. Right, we'll see it in a minute. Go back here, ID Oracle. If I'll go back, if I did ID Oracle before this RPM installation, I did here ID Oracle, it says no users. And the moment I install this yum install Oracle star, that has installed my Oracle user and some of the groups. Right, so I can just do cat etc group, and then you can see RAC DBA, KM DBA, DG DBA, backup DBA, Oper DBA, install. All of these groups are default got installed because of that yum install Oracle or whatever you did. So similarly, you do etc fastwd, and then you can see Oracle user which got installed along with that, right? So that's a great thing about that prerequisites RPMs. Now you got prerequisites RPMs are installed, and then one of the things, right? What we can do here, I'll go back to my this one here, just to give a brief background before we get started with the installation. These are the two software. We are aware that this is our 12c grid software. So this is our 12c grid software, and then this is our 12c database software. And similarly, we have two zip files. One is for your grid software and one is for your database software. Right, and then my intention is go with the 19c grid setup and database installation, and then these are the software ending with 68-01 and 63-02. These are the grid and database software. If I go back here and OEL, and you can see grid software, that is 68-01. That's this software 6801, and then I'll go back and I'll click on DB software, that is 63-01. That is 63-01. This is my database software, 19c DB and database software. I already downloaded and I kept here on my local laptop here. And then that's a thing about that. Now we'll need a public IP, we need a private IP, and we need a virtual IP, and we need a scan IP, right? So then what I'll do now, public IP. I'll go back to my server here. If I do ifconfig, okay, this is my public IP 192.168.1.5. This is my public IP. Default get assigned to this Oracle Lab 1 when I install here. So I'll just take this IP and then I'll keep it here in this public IP, right? So that's one. And then for my Oracle Lab 2, I'm going to take whatever it is. Like we'll see when the clone is done, we'll see what's the IP it's coming here. So whatever the name, Oracle 1, Oracle RAC 1, I'm going to replace this one with Oracle Lab 1. So if I replace here Oracle RAC with the Oracle Lab and then replace all, that's it. So your Oracle Lab 1 and then your Oracle Lab 2. So these are your public IPs, private IPs. We will change these IPs in a minute. These are the other things we need to check it out. Now what I'll do, I'll simply shut down my VM. I'll just close this VM, Oracle Lab 1, power off. And then I'll go back here. I'll click on the setting and then I'll go to network. One is your bridge adapter and other one is your NAT adapter. And then another one, you can make it anything, again, bridge or internal network, whatever you can make it. I can make it internal network. Just click OK. And then now I'll start it again. Now we got three interfaces. One is bridge, NAT, and internal network. Let it start. And then you go back here. Okay, concept here is you need a scan. This is your scan. This okay. These IPs are not correct. I'm going to change it. Whenever you do NS lookup of this scan name, it has to be resolved with any of these three scan IPs. So in order to make that, your configuration should be like this. You need this is your Oracle Lab 1. This is your Oracle Lab 2. I'll just take it as Oracle Lab 1, and then this is your Oracle Lab 2. So if I do ns lookup Oracle Lab 1 dot local domain.com, this is one thing, local domain.com. And then if I do ns lookup Oracle Lab 2, and if I do I'll take this scan one. Where's the scan? Scan is here, Oracle scan, right? Oracle scan. I can take Oracle Lab 1 and then Oracle scan. So just or else Vara scan. You can just make it as a Vara scan. So you can make it as a Vara scan is your scan name. The moment you do Vara scan, the moment you do NS lookup of your lab 1, NS lookup of your lab 2, and then you should get IP address called this one. And then when you do NS lookup of this one, you should get the 6 IP. And then the moment NS lookup you do this one, you should get this one, whatever this IP, right? I'll just take this one only. 6, I'll take it 10. This is 10. Okay, you can make it 10, or I'll just take it here. Give me a second. I'll just copy it, make it slash. Right. So this is your, wait a second. Okay, this is your one IP, 192.168.10, or you may get it 192.168.1.11, or you may get it one. Okay, they'll leave the same thing. Right. So this is your typical configuration. I'll just make it expand this one here. Okay. The moment you do scan of this one, NS lookup of this one, you should get this IP or this IP or this, either of 3.1. The moment you do NS lookup of this one, you should get either of this one IP. Like for node Oracle Lab 1, you should get this. Oracle Lab 2, you should get this. For NS lookup of your scan, you should get any one of these IP. And then this all should be coming from something called your DNS server. So this is your DNS server. I'll just make it as a DNS server. So whatever the request you are doing it here, NS lookup, it has to go to your DNS server. and it has to come back the response with the proper IP address. The moment you do NS lookup of your scan here, it has to go to your DNS server and it has to give the proper IP address from here, and then it has to get result here. So we have this lab 1 and the lab 2 become my entire cluster setup here. And then I need one more server, DNS server, in order to do this name resolution. So I don't have a hardware, I don't have a RAM or memory to make one more server. Instead of doing a DNS server on the separately, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this Oracle Lab 1 itself as my DNS server, DNS server. So whatever you NS lookup you're doing it here from the node 1, the request will go to node 1, and then the response will come from the node 1. The moment the whatever you're doing it from NS lookup of node 2, if you do it from node 2, the request will go again goes to node 2, and then the response also will comes from your same node 1. And then similarly it goes to the scan, whatever the scan your NS lookup you're doing it, the request will go to your node 1, and then response will come from the node 1. So the node 1, whatever this node 1, Oracle Lab 1 will act as your one of the node for your RAC setup, and also at the same time it's going to act as your DNS server. That's a concept here. That's what we're going to build here. So this node 1, you have to make it as a DNS server. For that, there's one of the prerequisites RPM you need to install. Which RPM is that? That's your very, very important RPM. If you install that RPM, then only that become your DNS server. If you don't install, so those will not that will not become your DNS server. That's a bind RPM. So I'm just going to install that bind RPM here. So let's see, this server is booted back now. Right, so this server is back online. We'll get the IP address and we'll connect back to this server here because it's become timed out. I'll go back here. I do again ifconfig. And now you might have got a 3 interfaces, like view, zoom in. Like you got a NS3, 8, and S9. So you got this same 1.5, and this is 3.15, and then this one is not assigned. So for that, you can go here and then system tools, settings, and you should see this NS3, NS9. Like click on this one, and then go to VIP. So it's a DHCP IP. Now I'll just enable this one, or else if you don't enable, also it doesn't matter for you. Instead of this one, we'll come back to this one right now. I'll go back here. I'll go back here. I'll do the same command. I'll connect back to my mobile XTEM here. Connect back as a root user. All right. So I said we need to install bind RPM in order to make this as a DNS server. So I'll simply go yum install bind star. So this is very, very important, bind RPM. Once you install this bind RPM, then only this become your DNS server. If you don't install, so it will not become your DNS server. You cannot do a name resolution. Whatever this NS lookup will not work, and you'll not be able to install your RAC setup. All right, so that's one of the primary check you have to make sure that it has been installed. You can see this is getting installed here, 52 RPM. It's updating, and some of the RPMs are getting installed. Some of the RPMs are existing RPMs are getting updated here. All right, so done. So your bind RPMs are installed now. And now what you can do, let's go back and then configure whatever this public IP and the private IP. Just remove this set of things here. Right. So we'll define our own IPs now. 192.168.1.5 is my primary IP for node 1, and then 192.168.1.6 is my secondary IP for my this one. Now you should have your private IP. I'll use the same thing. Right, I'll use the same IP here, and then 192.168. Instead of 1, I'll go with 9 or 10. This is like private. That's altogether different network, and then which will not be communicated to outside world, because of that is that's in a different subnet. Okay, I'm just going to use the same IP series with a different subnet. Same IP 5 and 6 with the different subnets, and then we should have your virtual IP, which should be same as your public subnet. I'm going to use the same thing here, 5 and 6, and then I'm going to give it here. This is going to be your 5, 6, and then I'm going to do 7, and then this is going to be 8. and then this is going to be your 9, and then these two, I'm going to change it here now. Right, let's go here. Okay, 9, 10, and this is 11. Right, so these are your total IP configuration. Again, once again, two public IPs, 1.5 and 1.6 for your Oracle Lab 1 and Oracle Lab 2. And then 9.5 and 9.6 is the private IP address for your node 1 and node 2, Oracle Lab 1 preview, Oracle Lab 2 preview. And then virtual IP same as your public IP range, 1.5 and 6, and then 7 and 8 for your virtual IP. And then scan IPs again in the public IP range, 1.9, 1.10, and 1.11. These are your instead of your Oracle Lab, I can say Oracle scan. I'll just remove this lab. I can just say Oracle -Oracle-scan, or I can make it as a single Oracle scan. Oracle scan is a scan name for your scan IPs, which is resolving by these three IPs. So now you got your IP defined here. I'm just going to copy this entire thing, and I'm going to put it inside my etc host file. Right, so I'll go back here, just do vi/etc hosts, and then I'll just copy this whatever we edited here. These are like default. I'm just going to take this one, copy here, and then I'll put it here. I'll go back here, new line, enter, paste it here. So public IP, private IP, virtual IP, and scan IP is done. So I'm just going to save this one. Done. So that is done. And now you install your Barkery bind RPM. Now you can configure this as the DNS server now. So in order to do the DNS server, now what I'll do, my ID Oracle user got installed here. I'm going to set the password for that user. Passwd Oracle. I'm just going to set the password for that user. Right. So I changed the password for my Oracle user. And now Oracle user password got changed, and then your Oracle user got created. And now we will configure the DNS RPM. So now you can simply do RPM -QA grep do bind, and you can see these many RPMs got installed with that bind RPM. Right. So now I'll go inside my etc, and then there's something called, I'll just maximize the screen. There's something called named.config. What that name. So if I do name.config, so name.config file created here, I'll just edit this vi name.config, and then what you need to do here, very interesting thing, you need to add your first node IP address here. That's very, very important. That's become your DNS server. So listen on port 53. That's the default loopback 127.0.0.1. So now you need to add your first node IP address. That first node IP address is your that's 192.168.1.5. I'm just going to copy this one and paste it here, and then add it here. Right. So that's a very, very important thing. You have to do it first thing. And then once you added that one, and then make sure that ending with your semicolon. Right. And then other thing is, come back here, and then this local host allow query, right? Last option, this allow query, whatever you are having here. So make sure that your entire 24 subnet is installed here. With the same, you can go with the 192.168.1.5. Just paste that same thing here. Instead of 5, you can make it as 0, and then divided by, means that's a /24 slider. That is a subnet. If you are not aware of how to calculate the subnet range and all, so you can go to your Google and search for IP calculator, and then do some research on this subnet, how the masking, everything happens. So that's the 24. That's all on like 256 whatever the IPs I'm gonna allowing here in this particular DNS server. So 192.168.1.0 is your DNS server, and then this is the entire IP coming under that range. I'm just going to allowing here. That's two things you have to make it. And then this is first thing you have to edit, and this is the second thing you have to edit. And then there are two more changes you have to do it. That's go down here, and then you need to include two zones here. Uh, there is the default zone, that's the zone in, and then you need to add two zones. One is your forward resolution, and then second one is your reverse name resolution. So I think I have added here. Do I have that? Okay, here. So this is your forward zone, and this is your reverse zone. You need to add it here. So I'm just going to change the IP address. Localdomain.com, it's your forward zone. That's fine. You don't need to change anything here. And then the reverse zone, what I'm going to do it, just going to come reverse in the order. Whatever the IP address you added here, 1.168.192, I'll come in a reverse order. I'll just make it 1.1.168, and then this is your 192. I'll come in a reverse order, so that that's a reverse zone. I'll just copy this again here, and then I can put it here. So that's the indication of your reverse zone, and this is your forward zone. Just copy both the things here, and then I'm going to keep it inside. Keep it below this zone entry, whatever this zone entry has it here in this file. Whatever this zone entry, I'm just going to add it here. All right, so I'm just going to add it here. Done. So these are the forward zone and reverse zone, just entry you added into your name.config file. And then now what you need to do, you need to create those two files. You'll go back here, and these are the two files. One is your local domain zone, and then this is your reverse domain zone. First, I'll come with the local domain, that's your forward zone. And then these are your default entries. And then this is Oracle node 1, that makes sure that it has to be resolved through Oracle node 1. And these are your time, expire time, read time, and refresh time. So you just keep it as it is. These are all details. And then this node 1, I can make it as a Oracle node 1 here. Right. And then localhost, that leave it. And then Oracle node 1, node 2, node 1 private IP, node 2 private IP, node 1 VIP, node 2 VIP, Oracle scan, right? This is ORCL or Oracle scan. What name I gave here? I gave it as a Oracle scan. So I'll just copy this Oracle scan. I'll put it here as a Oracle scan here. Right, and then IP address, I'll just copy here. This is my IP address. I'll just put it here. This is the one, like this is node 1 IP, and this is your node 2 IP. I'll go back here, and then rather than going up and down, I'll just cat etc hosts. So this is your node 1 IP, node 2 IP, and then this is your private IP. Come back and paste your private IP, and then this is your private IP of node 2, and then VIP. This is your VIP of node 1, and then this is your VIP of node 2, and then this is your scan IP, and then your scan IP2, and this is your scan IP. Okay, this is your scan IP 10, 11. So this is a simple configuration file. I'll just gonna add it here. VI, go back here, just do VI, enter. Then you can just copy everything whatever you modified, and then place it here inside. Done. So that's your forward name resolution is done. And then go back here. This is your reverse name resolution. So reverse name resolution, what you give, go back here and then check it once again that your name.config file, cat, the reverse name you given 1.168.192. So this is your reverse name. So you have to copy the same exact name what you given, then you have to paste it here. So this is your reverse name, right? And then let's go back here once again. Okay, this is your reverse name. That should be resolved through your node 1 again, and then these are like default entries, and then this is like your Oracle node 1 scan. This should be like your, where that one, the name, scan name. I'll just copy this one and I'll put it here. Scan, Oracle scan, Oracle scan, Oracle scan. I'll just put only node 1 entry. I'm not gonna put node 2 or VIPs or private IPs. That those are like not needed. So I'm just gonna take node 1 IP. I'll go back again, cat etc hosts. So I'll take node 1 IP, and then I'll put it here, node 1 IP, and then your scan IPs. I'll just take scan IPs. I'll put it my scan IPs here, scan IP1, scan IP2, scan IP3. Then this will be like your 10, and this will be like your 11. and your node 1, like you have to put only that ending like 5, 9, whatever, like node 1, that final digit, that's your 5, and then your scan IPs, the final digit 9, 10, 11. So I'm just going to put 9, and then this is with 10, and then this will be your 11. So you have to put only this much of entry for your reverse name resolution. I'm just gonna VI again this file, go back to your server, click edit, and then I'm just gonna copy these things here. Right, so that's it. So you done with your reverse name resolution, is entry is done. So make sure that you take a backup of whatever file you modified, because these are like not a permanent changes. Whenever you restart or reboot your VM, there might be chances that these changes may get reverted, and then again you need to modify, again you need to edit it, everything. So first thing is I'll just want to take my name.config file as a name.config underscore backup. That's the one thing. And the second thing is your where is that one? Okay, this is forward name, CP forward name. I'm just going to take it as a backup, and then the reverse name. So this is your reverse name, CP, and then backup. These are the three files, very, very important. Right, so these three files are backed up now. Again, just to re-verify everything. Okay, everything is perfect. Now your forward name, reverse name, everything is done. Last thing is your what we can say, the named config. That's your etc name.config. So I'll just at etc result.config. I'll just cat that etc result.config, cat / etc result.config. So this is pointing to my the ISP, internet service provider. I'm going to change it something like this. Let me go back here. 192.168 1.5. That's my node 1. So everything is going to be resolved through my node 1. So I'm just going to put this entry inside my etc result.config vi. So I'll just remove all of this entry, or you can comment out. I'll just make it either you can comment out, or either you can add it. Doesn't matter. You can do whatever you feel. I'll just take this one, and then I can put it here at the bottom. Come down, just put it here. Done. So, and then once you've done all of this, you have to make sure that restart your named service named restart. Right, so you did a restart of your named service. Now you can do cat etc host names, and now you do ns lookup, and then your host name, and then you should get IP address. If you're not getting, then you're missing something. So you need to again make sure that you need to edit one more time. So I'll just try to ping google.com so that internet connection is there. So right now I'm not able to ping my google.com, so it don't have internet connection. Just I will cancel this one. I'll just close my before that I'll take a backup of my result.config, cp result.config, and then result.config backup. Done. So I'll just close it, then I'll go back to my VirtualBox setup setting. Sorry, I need to reboot this one rather than closing that one. I need to reboot here. Now this VM is down. I'll go back to edit setting, and then go to your network. One is bridge adapter, one is your NAT adapter, and then again I can make it as a bridge adapter, and then I'll start it now. Now you got a 3 interfaces, 2 bridge, and 1 is your NAT. Right, so now it is getting started. It'll take few seconds to start. Let it go and start. Yeah, it started now. I'll just log in here. Now you got Malika and Oracle, both the users. I'll log in with the root user. Then go back and then open your terminal. do ifconfig. Now you got one is your public net, then this one. Okay, now you can go ahead and edit your network setting. Click on tools setting, and then go here, and then go to your IPv4 manual. And then we know we have set it IP address called where is that? Not plus plus. Okay, here my private IP address are here. This is my private IP 9.5. I'll just copy this one, then place it here. And then 255. 255.255.255.0. Okay, dot 0. And then I'll apply it here. Then I'll edit this one, this interface, while automatic VIP. Then I'll just go with the IPv4 manual, and then yeah, I don't need to enable this one. Just make it as a automatic and then apply it here. Right. So I'll just close it now. I'll just make it go back ifconfig, and then you got 192.168.1.5. I need to restart my server here. Service network restart. Or you can go back, enable and disable your network services from the console itself. Go back here and disable here, and then go back here, do restart one more time. Again, restart not happening. Let's wait and see one more time here. Just cancel it. ifconfig 192.168.1.5, and then this got reflected now here 192.168.9.5, and then the other one, it is not taking the IP addresses. Let's find now, do ping google.com. Right now Google is pinging. Now what you do, go back and then cat etc resolve.config. Now you can see the moment I restarted, this resolve.config got changed. I'll just simply use that backed up file, resolve.config underscore backup. I'll take it etc resolve.config backup. Yes, replace it and then cat it. Now, oh, okay, this is not saved. What is there inside that? Did we save that one after the backup? Let's see. Okay, nothing is here. Let's go back and edit it now. vi resolve.config/etc resolve.config, and then we're going to add this entry here, right? Paste here. Sorry. Go back once again. Copy here. Go back here. I'll just ignore it one more time. Edit. Go back and then paste it here. Save. Now I'll take a backup of this. etc resolve.config/etc resolve.config underscore backup. Yes. Now you do cat etc resolve.config backup. Yeah, you have backup. Then you do original files here, right? Both are fine. Now you do service named restart. Right, so restart is done. Now you do cat etc hosts, and then try to ping any one of this IP. NS lookup, copy, paste. Still not happening. Ping google.com. Not getting here now. Okay, let's see. I'll just go back etc resolve.conf, and then instead of your name server here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use Oracle lab1 localdomain.com. Then do NS lookup. Still not happening. So I'll just shut it down once again. I'll just change the little more network configuration. We'll go back to my Oracle VM VirtualBox setting. Go to network, make it bridge adapter for net adapter 1. Adapter 2 also I'll just make it as a bridge. And then adapter 3 I'll make it as a internal network, and I'll click OK. because you cannot define it in one chat. So you have to trial and error, like which all settings is getting fit for your environment, right, on your lab, based upon your network and based upon your internet provider. And then you have to make it one public IP and one private IP, and then one is for your internet access. So ideally, two interfaces are more than enough, one public and one private. And then I'm taking it 3 here because I just wanted to make it one public, one private, and then one internal adapter. So that if you use one public and one private, and still you have one more network to access your internet. So I'll just take it here, and then, right, so go back here once again. I'll just once again terminal, zoom in, okay. Click on application, system tools, setting, network, just make it enable here. Okay, so that's it, and come back here, IF config. So you got 192.168.1.5, 192.168.9.15, and then other one still it is not taking. So just to service, network, restart. Also, I can go back once again here, make it disable, just remove everything. I'm just going to remove all of the connections so that, if I do IF config, I don't see anything here. I should not see anything here. Now I'll enable one at a time. I'll go ahead and enable this one, and then automatic, done. So if I go back, IF config, still it's not taking. Go back here, stop it, enable this one. It's also not taking. Go back one more time, reboot, start it again. Right. So these are like trial and error until you get your internet connections and your public IP, private IPs, and VIPs. So you have to do all the network changes, whatever it is fits for your configuration. For my intention is here is I need one internet connection where I can able to ping Google, I can download RPMs and all those things. And one public, one private, and one VIPs. Done. I'll connect it now. Again, one more time, IF config. Right, so now this has taken IP address here. I'll go back here. I'll just view, zoom in, okay, and then go back, system tools, setting, and then this one. I'll just take it here, edit it, IPv4 manual, and then I can provide that IP address, cat/etc hosts, and then this is your private IP address. Go back here, private IP address to 255.255.255.0, apply, then enable it here, and then enable this one, okay, this one, or else I can just enable this one. I'll just make it, I'll just go back here, connect automatically, make this 9.5, apply, make it enable here. Oh, anyway, let's go back here, IF config, 192.168.1.5, and then this is not coming here. Go back, then connect automatically, manual. Okay, so it's not taking one more last changes. I'll just reboot one more time, and then I'll change one more interface here. Go back to your virtual VM box, go to settings, networking, bridge adapter, and then make it as a NAT adapter. Yeah, that's the last change. Let's see this last combination. Okay, it's starting now. Okay. Okay, done. So root. Okay, take a terminal connection, maximize this one, zoom in, do ifconfig. Okay, this has taken, no, not yet. Go to system tool setting, make it enabled here, go back, connected IPv4, make it automatic, apply. So ifconfig. So this is your public IP. Go back again here, make it connected, automatic. Okay, it's not allowing. So let's make it and disable this one and enable this one. It's also not enabling. Okay, I'll go back here. Make it connect automatically. Or else I can use the same IP manual one, 192.168.9.5, 9.5, 255.255.255.0. Then 192, apply, fconfig, 10.14. This is your internal. Okay. Okay, so let's change little more things here. What I'll do, okay, I'll come back here. Okay, this is my, make it manual, 192.168.1.128. I'll just take it as a default, 255.255.255.0, then apply, enable it, go back here, connect automatically, manual, and then I'll make it 2.128, apply it, make it enable. Again, still it is not, what the heck. Okay, let me see how this can be tuned here. If I go this one, connect automatically, make it DHCP, apply, enable it. Last try, I will just do remove ifconfig star. Okay, nothing is here now. Back. Okay, this one, profile, DHCP, add. Okay, it is coming to this one. Why? What's wrong with this one? Remove this one. Okay, yeah. Anyway, now all the profiles are removed. ILL, IF, conf, FGFG star, done. So now everything is, all the profiles are removed. I'll just do a final shutdown. Probably this is a final test we can do here. Bridge adapter, that looks good. Make it allow all, allow all, and then NAT adapter. Okay, that's fine. Just save it. Open it here. Right. So VM is getting started now. 7.9. Project. Project. Root. Okay. I have config. Nothing should be available. Yeah, I think available application system tool setting. This time, let's see, profile 1, IPv4 manual 192.168.168.1.128. That's we'll go with this 128 series and we'll see. Okay, apply. Okay, it's connecting to this one. Interesting. Okay, enable this one. And then if I go here, connect automatically, manual, instead of 1 dot, I'll make it here a 2 dot. Apply. Okay, what's about identity? Okay, it said profile 1. We'll make it profile 2. Apply here. Okay, I'll make it instead of profile 1, I'll make it enp 0 s3, right? And then go back here, connect automatically, identity enp s3 instead of s3, s8, p4, apply. Then this one, connect enp s9, IPv4, manual or DHCP, enable here, enable here. Interesting. So at any cost, it's taking only one interface. Okay, so last changes, hopefully, what I'll do, this one I'll make it host only adapter. Okay, and this one I'll make it internal network, and then and then other one. Okay, what is it? Internal network, and then other one I can make it bridge adapter. Okay, yeah, let's go with this one. Host only, internal, and bridge. Yeah, come back here. Service network restart. I have config. Nothing is there, and then I'll go ahead and start, and then give all the IP address manually, so that now at least with the manual IP address, whether it is taking or not, we'll get to know that. Okay, first thing, we'll go by one at a time. Enable this one. IPv4 manual 192.168.192.168.1.128, and then 255.255.255.0. Apply, enable it. Okay, again same issue. Go back here, connect automatically. Instead of 1, make it 2. Okay, then profile, make it profile 2. Apply. No, still it is not reflecting. Let's see what's root cause here. Seems something has messed up. So what I'll do is just quickly shut down, and then I will remove, all the data files. So I'll just freshly clone my VM, because like if you do something, if you play, okay, that's gone. If you play some network mismatch, misconfiguration, then everything will be gone. Right now, like as this Oracle Lab 1 is already ready, just unzip that extract here, and then I can freshly configure it. And then the first time if you configure it, that's it. It should not cause any issue. But we already messed up with all the network setting configuration. Since we are not that great at troubleshoot the network issues and all, so probably it's a waste of time to troubleshoot in the network issues. So right now, like I freshly unzipped my VM. I'll go ahead and add it once again. Go back, lab one, and then what I'll do, I'll just go to network setting, bridge, enable it, and I'll make it NAT. Apply. So rest other things I'll leave it as it is. I'll just start my VM. Ideally, this VM is whatever I configured. It's all fully tested in my previous videos, but it should not cause any issue. Yeah, but this is something we missed it. Something we messed up network configuration. That's where it is not taking it out. So now I took a fresh VM. Let's see. Hopefully this should go fine. So that's why no, the moment you configure one particular VM and you tested everything is working fine, and then you just zip that VM entire configuration and then keep it ready. Whenever you messed up any VM, and just unzip and then use that VM, whatever the backup you had it. That's a good part of good part of that, keeping a backup. And then whenever you're testing in your lab and doing some research or some testing, so better you can have a backup, valid backup, and then right here. So now what I'll do, I'll just directly go before touching anything. I'll just go network setting, network, and then I'll go here, uh, and then I can make sure that it's a ENPS3 identify. I'll make it manual. I'll just make it 128, 128 dot sorry, 192.168.1.128. I'll just make it as a manual assignment. 0 done. And then for the other one, go ahead, and then it is ENPS8. Make it again manual. 192.168. 192. Sorry. 192.168.1 dot. No, so I'll make it 2.128. 255.255.255.0. That's it. And then third one, that will be ENP0S9. Label it here. Then profile, make sure that it's a ENP0S9, and then IPv4 DHCP. Then assign it here. Right. So and then go back here, ifconfig. Then maximize this one, make it zoom in, and go back here. Okay, ENS3 192.168.1.5. Okay, just do service. You manually assigned IP address. You have to service. You have to do service network restart. Hopefully, okay, yeah, it started. Great. If I do ifconfig, go back here. 192.168.1.128, 192.168.2.128. It's a 1.128, 2.128, and then this is the NAT adapter. If you do ping google.com, so this looks perfectly fine now. So you should go with one more time. I'll repeat it. It should be bridge and NAT adapter. That's what we initially selected, but something we messed up with our network configuration, and then which has caused that network issue. So anyway, like we got now all the required IP addresses. Now I can take any one IP address and then try to connect using my PuTTY session here. But again, now we need to do all the things whatever we did. Yum install root. Right, so I connected here. Again, same thing. Yum install Oracle star hyphen skip underscore broken or hyphen broken. Right, so it will take few minutes to install all the necessary RPM, and then after that again we need to install that bind RPM. So we'll quickly change the few things here. Instead of 192.168.1 dot, I made it 1.128, and I'll go with 1.129, and then this will be like 2.128, and then this will be like again 2.128. So 129, and then your VIP will be 130, and then this will be like 131, and then your scan will be 131, and then make it 132, 33, and 34. So 130 and 31, and then it will be like 32 and 33 and 34. So this is your new IP range, what we got now. So I'll just make it yes. Yes. And so that's a one thing. I can go at meantime, whatever, I'll take one more duplicate session rather than waiting here. I'll take one more duplicate session and then we can edit those config. Okay, anyway, it's done. Other thing is like what I said, yum install bind star. That's where your node 1 become your DNS server. Okay, I'm install bind star, which is getting installed. Let it install here. Right, yes. It's getting very fast now. It's going fast now. 52 RPMs. Okay. Just verify cat etc os-release. That's your Linux OEL Enterprise Linux 7.9. Right. So this is done. Quickly we can verify those things whatever we did. One is your name.config, which will be where is that one? Okay, that'll be your, go back here, vi/etc named.config. So again, we have to do all the changes whatever we did. First thing is your listen on, and you have to enter that. Wait a second. What we can do, I'll just close it and reopen it. Right. So now I'll add it the node 1 IP address. The node 1 IP address is getting changed now. It's going to be 192.168.1.128. Then make sure that you put semicolon over there, and then here allow query that will be like your 192.168.1.0/24. And then make sure put that semicolon at the end. Space, make sure that you can give one space. Right, and then let me make sure that put one more space here. Right, so these are the two changes. And then zones. Anyway, we have added those zones already modified here. Where are the zones? Okay, here, local domain zone and then reverse domain zone. I'll just copy these two zones and then I'll add it here. Done. So your both the zones are ready. And then here we need to do little more changes on these zones, this IP addresses. Whatever this forward zone, local domain dot zone, your host name remains same, but IP address 192.168.1 dot, it is 128, and then your node 2 is going to be 129, and then your private IPs is going to be 2.128, and then 2.129, right? And then your VIPs 1.230, and then 231. 131, sorry, and then your scan IPs are going to be 132, and then 132, and then 133. Just cross verify 132, 33, 34, 32, 33, 32, 33, and then 34. Right. So these are your forward zone. I'm just going to add that one here. VI, go back, VI, then add it here. Run, save it, and then reverse zone. Come back here. Your reverse zone ARPA. Then your node 1, that will be like 1.128, and your scan will be 130, 32, 133, 134, and then it's going to be 128. It's going to be 132, scan 1, scan 1, 133, 134. So that's it. So just add this entry here. Let's take this one, add it here, save this one. And then other thing is your result.conf. The result.conf, we have it here. No, where is that one? We have it here. Slash etc result.config. Go back here. Vi slash etc result.config. And just remove all of these entries. We don't need it. Just add this entry here. Instead of 1.5, we'll make it 1.128. That's a node 1 IP. Right. So now I'll take everything as a backup. etc result.config. I'll make it as a backup. And then your forward zone CP. We'll take it as a backup. Your reverse zone CP reverse zone comma reverse zone underscore backup. And then your name.config CP name.config as a name.config underscore backup. So all are backed up. And then last thing is restart your named service named restart. Right. So restart service named restart is done. So you do cat etc hosts. Yeah, you can add all of these details, whatever you made here. Public IPs, private IPs, virtual IPs, and scan IPs. I'm just gonna take all of these entries. I'll put it into my vi slash etc hosts. Add it here and then save it. And then you can take a backup of this on CP etc host. I'll take it etc host as a backup. And now you can do cat slash etc host. Right now we can try to do ns lookup. ns lookup. Okay, still it is not bringing. You can do ping google.com. No, and then do ifconfig. One more time to verify. 128 to 128. It's all looks good now here. Okay, service named restart cat slash etc resolve.conf local domain. Okay, so etc resolve.com. Search is going to be local domain.com. Okay, local domain.com. So search is that one. Save this here. Do one more time ns lookup or ping google.com or service network restart. Right, ifconfig. And then you got 1.128, 2.128, 415. Okay. Now you do ping google.com. So google.com ping was working. Slash etc resolve.conf. Again, it got changed. Slash etc resolve.conf underscore backup to slash etc resolve.conf backup. Restart. Okay. And then do service network restart. Service named restart and then do ping google.com. Still it is not working. Okay, result.conf. What we can do, we can do vi instead of this IP address. What we can do, Oracle lab1 dot local domain.com. We'll put the host name Oracle lab1 dot local domain.com. Then do service named restart. Try to ping google.com till no issues. Try to do ns lookup now here. Okay, cannot find. Again, service network restart. Do ping google.com. It's working here. cat etc result.com will get change here. Okay. Do ns lookup. Not resolving. Okay. So let's see what we can do now. I will stop the firewall now. Uh, where is the firewall command? Do I have the firewall command? Okay. Service uh, systemctl systemctl status firewall d running. I'll just make it top and then I'll disable it. Right. So again, status, nothing is running here. That's one thing. And then we need to add couple of what we can say. Let's see. We need to add couple of. We need to allow couple of ports into our firewall table. What? Okay. Let's see what all those firewall commands. Let's see whether I have it here. I don't think so. I have it here. Okay, it's there. I'm gonna add a couple of IP table inputs. Just run this one here. Done. Okay. Done this to all. Okay, so let's see one at a time. Okay, it got connection lost, so I need to reconnect it. Go back here. I have config service network restart. Then we can run all of them here in one shot. Okay, so this is done, and then this one is what? Why it is failing? Let's go back here. The first command. IP tables. Okay, -s. Bad argument -state. Okay, that's a bad argument. Okay, mstate -state. It's a bad argument. It says. Let's try one more time. I'll just remove this state. No such a file directory. Okay. Anyway, this is not the idle root cause. Systemctl named restart. Let's try one more time. cp/etc resolve backup/etc resolve. Let's go config. So I need to make it cp s cat/etc resolve.config. Then do just to now ns lookup cat/etc resolve.config cat/etc hosts. And then now we can take any one of the host name, ping google.com, ns lookup let's see, there might be some typos. pi/etc named.config. Okay, so this is my named file. This is fine. Okay, here it should be local domain zone. Let me reconfirm one more time with the other file. It should be Oracle home. Okay, this is fine, and then go here. Okay, this is fine. Local domain dot zone. Okay, this is my search domain. Seems good here. Okay, yeah, looks good. It should be local domain.com. That's a zone. Local domain dot zone. Data bar. Okay, this looks good. CD where named SF here. Local domain the backup. This one has a backup here. Okay. Service named restart. -XC. Journal CTL-XC. Okay, all zones are started. Okay. Ping google.com. /etc. It's all okay. Service network start. So this is working fine. Okay, cat /etc host. It's all fine. Cat named local domain. Okay. Okay, this also looks good. Cat. Fig. Okay, this also looks good. Okay, this also looks good. First IP, that's a node 1, and then this domain 1. Okay, that's fine. Okay, cat /etc resolve.config. Okay, so probably the issue is with our, I just found out issue is with our forward zone and reverse zone. If I go here, CI, VTC, like if I go back here, we have added node 1 that was causing issue here. If I go here, I'm already in my where named. If I go vi local domain zone here, Oracle node 1 local domain.com, root local domain.com, Oracle node 2. Okay, this is good. One more time. So here, this is the problem. What we did, we mentioned as a Oracle node 1. We're supposed to mention Oracle lab 1. So that was a very bad. So be careful while editing this file. Whatever the host name you are giving, give that proper name here. So it's supposed to be Oracle lab 1 localdomain.com, and then come back here. This is supposed to be your Oracle lab 2, Oracle lab 1 local domain, and then here it is Oracle lab 1 Oracle Lab 2, and then Oracle Lab. Oh, is it Oracle Lab or Oracle? No, let me take one more session. Uh, take a new tab, cat/http hosts. So it's going to be Oracle Lab 1, Lab 2. Yeah, Oracle Scan. So it's supposed to be Oracle Lab. So that was a biggest mistake what we did. Oracle Lab 1, and then it's going to be Oracle Lab 1 here, and then this is Oracle Lab 2, Oracle Lab 1 private, Oracle Lab 2 Prev, and then this is going to be Oracle Lab 1, Oracle Lab 2. It's a ORCL scan, ORCL, ORA scan or ORCL scan. Let's see. It's a Oracle scan. So Oracle scan, Oracle scan. Yeah, this looks good now. Once again, I'll make sure Oracle Lab 1, Oracle Lab 2, Oracle Lab 1, Lab 2 private VIP, Oracle Lab 1 private IP, Oracle Lab 1 VIP, then Oracle scan. Okay, looks good here. I'll just copy this one, CP, local domain to local domain underscore backup. Yes, and then similarly, the reverse. Okay, again here also Oracle node 1, though that's a mistake what we made it. Oracle Lab 1, and then Oracle Lab 1, Oracle Lab 1 scan, and then Oracle Lab 1. Okay, done. Again, copy this one. Right, so both are done. Again, service named, restart, ping, and then okay, one more thing, cat/etc resolve.conf. Okay, cp/etc resolve.conf to/etc resolve.conf underscore backup. One more time, service named restart, ping google.com. cat/etc hosts, Dns lookup, Dns lookup. Okay, here you go. So Oracle Lab 1 it is getting resolved, and Oracle Lab 2, Oracle Lab 2 is also getting resolved, and scan, Oracle scan. Right, so 32, 34, 33. One more time, 33, 32, 34. Yeah, perfectly fine. So you were all the scans are getting resolved, but only thing is ping google.com. So you are not able to ping it. But anyway, let me try whether I'm able to access this one from PuTTY session. Copy, go to my PuTTY session, root. Perfect. So I'm able to access my lab here, ping google.com. So only the ping is not working. ID Oracle ID, everything is installed now. So everything looks perfectly fine now. So it took a lot of time. It took a lot of time to resolve this simple mistake, right? So anyway, we're able to connect, and then we're able to ping, and then all the prerequisites RPMs are all installed now. We're all good now to proceed with the installation. What we did, I just cover it one more time. This was already covered in my previous video. Installation of OEL is covered in my previous video. What we just did is configuration of whatever, like configuration of our forward DNS and reverse DNS. So now that absolutely working fine here. If I do cat etc hosts, and then if I do ns lookup of my node 1, it's getting resolved. And if I do node 2, which is also getting resolved, and if I do Oracle scan, that's also getting resolved. So one more thing, guys, make sure while editing these files, very sure, like whatever the host name you have given, so please try to add the same host name in all of these configuration file. I'll repeat it, what all those configuration file. One is your cat/etc host file. This is very important. You define your public IPs, and then what's the name of that, your server 1 and server 2. Private IPs, what's IP, and then what's the name of that private IPs. Virtual IPs, and what's the name for that virtual IPs, and scan IPs, and then what's a common scan name for all of these 3 IPs. Once you define this one, then make sure that you can edit same thing into your /etc named.config file. So name.config file, very important. Put that node 1 entry here, and then entire subnet here, and then make sure that you add this forward join and then the reverse join. Once you add this forward join and reverse join, and go to your where named, and then there you can define your forward join file and then the reverse join file. And then the forward join file, if I do cat, and then very important, this was the mistake we did, like the name of the lab, name of the node we given as Oracle lab 1 and Oracle lab 2, but we given it is here Oracle node 1 and Oracle node 2. That was the issue what we have challenged. Almost we wasted around 30 to 40 minutes on this configuration, right? Like, so this should be Oracle lab 1, and then your Oracle lab 1 local domain, and then Oracle lab 1, lab 2, private and VIPs and scan. So this is kind of a trickiest part you need to take care of with the extra cautious. So I'll just check it for my reverse zone. So again, Oracle lab 1, and then your Oracle lab 1 and your scan, and then the reverse addresses. Right. So that's other thing. And then other thing is /etc resolve.conf. So your name server and rotate, and then timeout, and then the attempt. So the name server is going to be your node 1. That's Oracle lab 1 IP address, right? So everything looks good now here. And now go ahead and do a clone. Now you can go ahead and do a clone of your VirtualBox. So now what I'll do, I'll shut it down. Okay. Before you shut it down, anyway, yeah, we can shut it down. I will just go ahead, close it, power off, right? And then go back here, and then go back here, clone, and then you can give clone name as a Oracle lab 2, and then go ahead and give wherever you given that Oracle lab 2. Provide here, it's going to be OEL, Oracle lab 2, OEL, and then keep the disk names and keep the hardware UID. So I'm not going to keep it. I'm just going to include all the network adapter and MAC addresses. Generate a new MAC address for all the network addresses. So I'll generate a new MAC address for all those network adapters. Go next, and then full clone, and then go back to your OEL. So you can see your Oracle lab 2 is getting cloned here. All right, so Oracle lab 2 is ready now here. And then go ahead and start that Oracle lab 2. And then also you can start that Oracle lab 1. This is your Oracle lab 2 is getting started here. I'll start Oracle lab 1 as well. All right, so I'll make sure that your Oracle lab 2 has changed the name. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Oracle lab 2 is getting started here. Oracle lab 1, it is not yet started. Yeah, starting now here. Right, so this is your Oracle lab 2. Root. Right, this is your Oracle lab 2, and this is your Oracle lab 1. Okay, both are ready here. I have config. Okay, this still you can see the host name, it says Oracle lab 1. I'm going to change it using host name ctl set -host name, is going to be your Oracle Lab 2 dot local domain.com. Just to host name here. I got it Oracle Lab 2. Then I'll close it and I'll restart it one more time. It's Oracle Lab 2. Okay, your Oracle Lab 1 is ready here. Go back and start your Oracle Lab 2 again. Make it zoom screen. View. Okay. Show menu bar, view, full screen, and remove it. Okay. IF config. One dot 128, 2.128, and this is your NAT. So everything fine here. And then I'll wait for the other machine to come up. Okay, came up here. Root. Okay, so came up here. Right, so let's zoom in. Okay, you got Oracle Lab 2. Oh, why it's not, name is not in host name CTL. Okay, host name CTL set hyphen host name Oracle Lab 2 dot local domain.com. So it is set to Oracle Lab 2 now here. Okay, now we can do reboot. So just to go ahead and verify this Oracle Lab 2, open a new window, and then it has Oracle Lab 2, and then this is different UID. Yeah, it's all set here. Go back here, go back here. Okay, it's getting started. Let us start. IF config. Okay, anyway, the moment you restart your VM, so you have to make sure that cp/etc resolve.conf, that backup file, you have to replace every time you reboot your VM. You have to replace this file, or else you have to set one mechanism like cron tab or whatever it is to whenever you restart, you can replace this file, and then service named restart. This you have to do it. Then only your NS lookup will work. If I do cat/etc hosts, so hosts, and then take any one of the host name NS lookup, and then paste that one. So you're getting that name resolution. Go back here and then see that lab 2 whether the host name got changed or not. Terminal. Okay, got changed to Oracle Lab 2. All right, then looks good. One more thing, the moment you logged in, go here, settings, and then network settings, and then edit, and then IPv4, and then this should be 120, instead of 128, make it 129, and then go to other IP address. Not this one, so here, whatever this 2.128, make it 129. That's it. So then exit. Just do IF config or do service network restart. Done. So just do IF config, and you can see 1.229, 2.229, and then the other IP address. Now you can do cat/etc hosts here, and then you can take node 1 NS lookup, node 1 IP address, node 1 host name. It's getting okay, not yet getting resolved. So make sure that your etc resolve.conf backup file has been replaced here. and then service network restart. So I have to do these two commands. Sorry, one service network restart and then service named restart. Service named restart. And so after that, you can do ns lookup. It should resolve, right? It is getting resolved, and then make it host name 2 and so getting resolved, and make your scan Oracle scan. So that's also getting resolved. So perfectly fine. Both the nodes are ready now. And also we have created ID Oracle. Oracle user created. I'll set the password passwd Oracle, and then I'll set the password for that Oracle user. Right. So node 2 I set it. I'll go on node 1 passwd Oracle. I'm just going to set this one. Right. So password is set for Oracle user. Okay. Now we remember we created 3 disks. We'll go back here, file, virtual media manager, this disk 1, disk 2, disk 3. So I'm going to add those 3 disks to my VMs. I'll go to node 1, setting, storage, go on this SATA. Okay, you cannot add it when the VM is down. So I'll just when the VM is up. So I'll just shut down both the VMs. Power off, then power off, and then I'll add it here. My storage, go to SATA, disk 1, once again, disk 2, once again, disk 3. You added all the 3 disks here, click OK. Similarly on another server, storage, go here, and the SATA, disk 1, and similarly disk 2, and then disk 3. 1 GB, 20 GB, and 10 GB, add it here. And then start your VM. I'll just start only one VM now. Okay, so now we did a clone, creating a shared disk. Now I'm going to create a shared disk. So I just added those disks on both the host. Okay, so now I'll do connect here. Okay, you need to configure Oracle ASM library first in order to do that one. I'll do it on node 1 first, and then later we'll go to node 2. Zoom in. Okay, there's something called Oracle ASM. Just enter. These are the configuration. You do Oracle ASM init, and then you can see it created and it mounted the library. Oracle ASM configure -I. It says who is the owner for Oracle Grid. I'll say Oracle Grid is Oracle is the owner, and then who is the group for that grid. I'll say O install is a grid, and then do you want to start? Who want to load these ASM libraries on the boot? Yes. You want to scan the disk on boot? Yes. That's it. So that's done. So you can go ahead. Other nodes, I'll not start. I have not started. I'll start it now here. Okay, let's let it start. Here, what happens? You can go here, dev LLST star. You got this B, C, D. These are the 3 disks. What you got it of that 1 GB, 20 GB, and 10 GB disk, whatever you added. F disk -L. Okay, F disk -L. So you will see this SDB, which is of 1 GB, SDD, SDC. Where is it? SDC is of 20 GB and SDD is of 10 GB. You got 3 disks here, B, C, and D. So you can go ahead and format them using fdisk. Fdisk, there's dev. I'll just go with the SDB. That's a B, first 1 GB disk. I'll go with the primary partition. I'll go with a new partition. I'll go with the primary default. I'll get I'll go with the default. W is for save. Similarly, you can do LLST star now. whatever this SDB you formatted SDB1, I'll just go to the SDC disk now. I'll go to new partition, primary, default, I'll just save it. Then now you got your SDC, you formatted SDC1, that 20 GB disk. And then last disk now, STD. New partition, primary, default, go with the save W. You can see SDD, which is 10 GB disk, you formatted here. Now you can use something called Oracle ASM and then create disk. Whatever you formatted this STB1, STC1, STD1, you can convert them as a ASM disks. Oracle ASM create disk. You can give whatever the name. I can say disk. I can say D1 from dev SDB1. I think ASM disk. I'll make it as the ASM disk. ASM disk 1. Whatever that ASM disk 1 dev SDB1. Right. So whatever this SDB1, I'm making it as a ASM disk 1. That's done. So whatever this SDC1, I'll make it as a ASM disk 2. Okay, and whatever this SDD1, I'll make it as ASM disk 3. Done. So if you do Oracle ASM list disks, you see ASM disk 1, disk 2, and disk 3. You got all the 3 disks. So that you can find it on dev Oracle ASM disks. You see ASM disk 1, 2, 3, all the 3 disks you got it here. And then go to other server, root, close it. And then open a terminal here. And I'll make it zoom in, go inside your dev LLSD star. You see your SDB, SDC, and SDD1 all are came here. And then you can see Oracle ASM init that will load your Oracle libraries, and then Oracle ASM configure -I, Oracle ASM configure -I, who is the owner for your grid, that will be like Oracle user, and who is a group, that will be like who install, want to load on the boot, yes, you want to scan the disk on boot, yes, done. So now you can do Oracle ASM list disks, and you don't see it. And then the moment you do scan disks, and you got all the disk 1, disk 2, disk 3. Now you can do list disk. So immediately you got all the 3 disks, because these are the disks shared between both the nodes, and then immediately you will get it here. Dev Oracle ASM disks, then LSF and LTR. You got all the disk 1, 2, 3. All the disks are ready here on both the nodes. So that's a creation of shared disk. Now configure your Oracle ASM. That's a configure Oracle ASM and pre-checks for RAC and install your RAC setup. So that we can do it here. I'll just close all of this. Right. So and then I'll just take one session, that's 192. That will be like 192.168.1.128 root. Right. So this one, and then I'll take one more session. That's my node 2. I'll take it 129 root. Done. So both the nodes are ready here. Further things now. I'll go here, and then I'll create all the directories on both the nodes, and then I'll give the permission. I'll just see grid home, and then I'll see our inventory, and then Oracle home, and then I'll give the permission for user 1 to Oracle, and then I'll change the ownership permission to 755 for user 1. I'll just copy everything and run it on node 1, and I'll run it on node 2. Done. So then this is the pre-checks for my grid installation. Right. So before that, what we can do, one more time, cp slash etc result.conf backup slash etc result.conf. Yes, on node 1, and then service named restart, and then I'll run the same command on the other node. Done. And then same service network restart. Again, cat etc hosts, then do ns lookup node 1 getting resolved, node 2 getting resolved, and then Oracle scan getting resolved. So same thing you can do it on the other node. Okay, node 1 getting resolved, node 2 getting resolved, and your scan Oracle scan. So that's also getting resolved. So perfectly looks good now. Now you need a software here on one of the node. And then since I have my grid software here, um, downloaded, I can directly mount this particular grid software on my server. I'll just mount this one, enter this OEL on my VM. So I'll go to node 1, I'll click on the setting, and there's something called saved folder here, and just do mount the plus mark here, and then path, and then this is software, and then you can do auto mount, read, and then mount it. Okay, if I go back here, just do uh, df-h, and you can see that software directory, whatever my C drive is all mounted here. If I go back on the VM here, node 1, and then if I minimize this one, you can see this software directory from my computer or my laptop, it mounted here. And if I go inside that, I'll go here. If I go inside that, if I do lsfnl, you can see DB software, grid software, all of this, whatever you're seeing here, this one, or my laptop or my desktop, whatever the C drive location, everything is mapped here. Now I'll go inside my grid, and then I will directly unzip it. Before that, like I'll just do unzip, and whatever this grid software -d, I'll directly unzip into user one app 19c grid. So remember, this is my grid home, right? This is my grid home. I'm unzipping inside my grid home. Right. So this will take few minutes to unzip, and then we'll get started with the installation. Right. So this will take a few minutes. Okay, so let it get complete this one, and then we'll start it. What you need to do, then uh, you need to, once the unzip is done, and then you need to do this Cluffy check. Run Cluffy stage a pre-CRS install -node 1 and node 2 -verbose. That will tell you whether that the pre-check is successful or not, whether any issue with the pre-checks or not before you proceed with the installation. And then once it's going on, meantime, I will generate, if I log into Oracle user, I should have a passwordless connection to node 1 and node 2. If I go to node 1, if I do from the Oracle user, if I do try to connect to SSH to node 1, it's going to ask me for the password. So it's asking me for the password. The moment I enter the password, it's going into that node 1. Maybe password is wrong. Okay. If I enter the correct password, it's going to my node 1. So if I do SSH, my node 2, from the node 1. If I give the password, it go. So we need to establish the passwordless connection between node 1 and node 2. So for that, you need to do something SSH hyphen keygen, just enter, and then just do enter, enter, enter. So it's going to create your key here inside your .ssh folder, and then you can see your ID RSA, and then you have your ID public key here, right? So both are ready here. And then similarly on node 1 also, go to Oracle user and do SSH hyphen key generation, enter, 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 then go inside SSH to LL, and you can see ID RSA key here, the cat ID RSA key here, cat ID public key here. So now you got public key here. You need to create some one file called authorization authorization underscore key in Linux. So what you need to do, I'll just create one authorization key here. For that authorization key, I can use it for storing these entries. I'll just create one file vi authorized underscore keys, and then I'll add it this node 1 entry first, and then later node 2 entry. Just add node 1 entry, go to node 2, and then just copy that whatever the node 2 details, and then add it here, then save it, and then do verify that cat. Then these are the entries. Then you can do the same thing here, vi on the other node, and then put the same entry whatever you kept it on node 1, the same thing, copy it, and then paste it here. Done. So what happens now, you can do SSH node 1, and then without password it will go to node 1, and then from the node 1 you do SSH node 2, it will connect to your node 2 without the password. But you can see without the password it connected now. So that's a simple SSH passwordless SSH connecting between both the nodes. But anyway, your software also unzipped. Go back here, U01 app 19C grid, and then do I'll do ch1 hyphen r, because I unzipped as the root user. I'm going to change the permission, because if I go inside grid, all are owned by root user. So I'll go back one directory. I'll just change the permission inside all the files whatever available. ch1 hyphen r recursively Oracle o install for my grid. So if I go inside grid now, so all the permission got changed to Oracle now. So now I am inside grid home here. I'll go CRS and then RPM. Okay, let's see. There's a RPM here inside grid. It's not CRS, inside grid CV, and then RPM, and then you can see this RPM. You have to install that RPM here, RPM IVH on both the nodes. So installed here, you can copy this to other nodes. Other nodes, that's your Oracle Lab 2. Inside temp, I'll move it inside temp. Yes, I'll give the password for root user. Done. I'll go into node 2. Exit, go inside temp, LL, and then this is your RPM. Do RPM hyphen IVH, and then this RPM. So installed here. Now you can go ahead and do that. Pre-run Cluffy pre-checks. So this is the run Cluffy pre-checks. I just need to replace my host names here. Node 1, and node 2. Then verbose. So I'm just going to run it. This will be like run Cluffy will be inside your grid home. So if I go inside my grid home here on node 1, okay, node 1, SU Oracle, and then go inside your grid home. That will be like this grid home, and then cd grid home, do ll star.sh. You can see grid setup, root upgrade, and run Cluffy. So I know this run Cluffy.sh stage pre CRS install -n, that's your node list -verbose, that's the detailed output. So I'll just copy this command, go back here and run it. I know there will be like a lot of failures. Okay, I'll just cancel it here right now. It says Oracle inventory is not found. I'll just simply create as a root user. vi/etc. There's a vara inst.loc. That's vara inst.loc. It should be from the root user, and then the inventory location vara inst. Okay, this is a content etc vara inst.loc, and then it should be inventory location, and then o install is the group. So I'm just going to add it here and then save it here. Similarly, I'll do it on the node 2 cat. I'll run the same thing on the node 2 as a root user. Do it here and then add this entry and then save this one. Done, and then do ch. You can do 777, so it doesn't matter. I'll just do ch mode 777 /etc vara inst. Ideally, you should not give this 777, but anyway, this is my lab. I can go ahead and give that permission, right? So that's done. Now you can log into Oracle back again. Go to your grid home, run that run Cluffy. So you don't see this inventory could not be determined. That error message will be like removed now, and then it will proceed further. If there are any other error messages, so we can fix them. So again, like go back once again here. Disk 1, disk 2, disk 3. Go back here. Disk 1 for my OCR, keeping my OCR and voting disk, and data and record needed for my database installation. Data is for storing data files and other things. Record is for my FRA and then logs, other things. Right, so your run Cluffy pre-checks are going on. Probably, I'm sure there will be a lot of failures because it's not industry standard network configuration setting. This is all like local lab setting. So there'll be like a lot of error messages. So most of them can be ignored, and then we can proceed. Yeah, it's going good here so far. User with the already past existing with past does not exist. Okay, ASM admin does not exist. ASM DBA does not exist. Okay, it's done. It says you just read the summary. Okay, summary start from here. Okay, here. Pre-check for clusters where setup is unsuccessful, and then failure reasons are physical memory. It expected around 8 GB, but we don't have 8 GB. I can easily ignore this one. And then this ASM admin group are not available. If you want, you can go ahead and create. If I do cat/etc group, and then you can see where is that ASM admin. So it don't have ASM admin. So if you want, you can go ahead and provide that ASM admin groups. Otherwise, you can ignore. Like, no, I'm not going to give this one. I can ignore this one because everything I'll go give it to install. I'm just going to ignore all of this. The Oracle does not belong to ASM admin, ASM DBA. I'll just ignore all of these groups because I'm going to use install as my all the groups. And then these IPs are, I can ignore it because these IPs are nowhere I'm using it. This is my third interface. And then TCP connectivity for these IPs it is reporting, so I can easily ignore this error message because I'm not using this network. I'm not using this network, so I'm just going to ignore these error messages here. And then only thing is Avahi daemon, it says okay, not configured. Fine, I can ignore this one. This is not needed for me. Okay, rest of the things are like information. No, everything I can ignore it here. Most of the things are like I'm fine with that. Right, now go ahead and run your grid setup.sh. That's the next step. So once your pre-checks are passed, uh, and then like the groups, whatever it is reporting, right? If you want to create that group and add it, you can do it and create this or whatever the ASM Oper, ASM DBA, ASM admin. Go ahead and then do this user mod, and then you can add it. I'm not going to do that because it's my lab. I'm not going to using any of them. So now the pre-checks, assuming that it's all passed, I can go ahead and start with the installation. So I can use a different user. I can directly connect with the Oracle user, and then I can start the run installer. Okay, even you can run it from here, run installer. sorry, the grid setup.sh, but it will be like a little slower. So for that, I'll go ahead and I can start it from here. Okay, what happened? Node 1, new user not taking. I'll bounce it. I can directly connect with the Oracle user. I don't know, like that has not responding if I clicked on that login with the new user. Right, it's like one point to remember. Whenever you restart your VMs, you have to every time that replace that /etc result.config file, and then you have to restart your named services. That you should remember. Otherwise, your NS lookup or the DNS configuration will not work. I'll show you that one. The moment this VM starts, it'll not be able to do that NS lookup. Okay, let's take it here. And let's log in with not Malik. I'll log in with Oracle user. Connect here. Set to full screen. Okay, for the first time, you will see this welcome screen. So to click next, and then skip it. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll take oh no, close it. I'll take a session here. Then I'll zoom in. Okay, I'll take one more session with the root. I'll do su root. I'll give the password. Right, so now I'll do zoom in. Okay, cat/etc host, and then if I try to do ns lookup this one, see what happens. Ns lookup, and then paste here, and then it will be giving a random ID, because if you do cat etc result.conf, it will be like getting changed every time you reboot your server. So the moment you reboot your server, do etc result.conf and backup /etc result.conf, and then it will replace your original setting, whatever you did. If you do cat now, you can see your node 1 is your become DNS server. And then make sure that you restart your service named restart. Right, so now you can do ns lookup. You should be able to do that one. Right now I'm doing ns lookup for that node 1, so I'm getting a proper response. Right, that's a changes you have to do it every time you reboot your server. Right, now I'll go into u01 app 19c grid, and then ll sh ll star.sh. So you have to run your grid setup.sh. So I'll just run grid setup.sh. Okay, it got some interesting. It got some error message. OraDB. Okay, so interesting thing. So I'll just cancel that one. What we entered here, cat etc Ora inst.loc. Okay, we gave OraDB. That's a wrong entry. /etc /etc Ora inst. So that will be like your u01 app. So not a OraDB. That will be like your u01 app. So that was my typo. Sorry for that. cd slash that's OraDB, and the other node also. I'll go back here. We change here also. That's instead of OraDB, I'll make it as u01. Done. Go back again. Now run it one more time. Grid setup .sh. You should not see this error message now, right? You're not seeing that error message here now. Whatever you're seeing, it clearly says the exception unable to create that log inside your inventory. Now you got it, no error message, and your GUI screen came here. Install, configure your Oracle grid infrastructure for new cluster, configure your grid infrastructure for standalone, that's your Oracle restart, or you can upgrade it. So now I'll do go ahead and go with, this is for skip and only install the software setup. So I'll go with the first option, new grid infrastructure cluster, new grid infrastructure cluster for new cluster. Just go with the first option. And then there are different options in the new cluster setup. One is your standalone cluster, domain cluster, member cluster, and member cluster for application. So I'll go with the default, that standalone cluster. Each of them has their own significant, and the moment you select, you will see that what that means. I'll just go with the first one, standalone cluster. The grid infrastructure cluster for you as a Oracle standalone cluster. That's your normal. Okay, and then the scan name and then the cluster name, both are different. Scan name, we know the scan name is Oracle scan. That's what we give. And then Oracle cluster is your cluster name. You can go with that one. 2, 4, 6. Okay, instead of Oracle cluster, Oracle scan, Oracle cluster. Okay, I'll go with the Ora CLU. Ora CLU stands for Oracle cluster, and Oracle scan is your scan name. 2, 4, 6. Okay, how many character? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, this is Oracle cluster. Because there's a limitation for your cluster name. You cannot go more than 15 characters. Right, and then that's it. Like your scan port name 1521 default. I'll go with that. Okay. Right, you got your node 1 and node 1 VIP. Just click on add, and then you can see Oracle, your Oracle lab2 dot local domain, localdomain.com, and then the VIP for your Oracle lab2, Oracle lab2 hyphen VIP dot local domain.com. That's your host by public IP, public host name, and then the virtual host name. Right, so just compare both of them, node 1, node 2, node 1 VIP, node 2 VIP. Done. So SSH connectivity is already done. I'm not going to test it. Anyway, it's going to test it again if you click next. Validating the node readiness. And then yes, passwordless SSH connectivity between the nodes. I already tested it. So again, it'll do one more time testing here. That's a good thing. And then it should say success SSH successful, and then it will go for validation of your network and other configuration. Okay, so still it's doing testing. Okay, now got it. Your 192.168.1.0 is your public, and 192.168, 192.168, where is your private? 192.168. Wait a second, I will verify one more time here. Where was that one? IF config. Okay, it's coming 192.168.1.9. Here it's coming IF config 192.168 and 2.9, and node 2 is fine. IF config. Why on node 1 it is not changed? Okay, let me quickly check that one. I'll connect here, other node 28. Interesting one. The IP got changed. Let's see, I will more quickly check it out. IF config. Okay, it says 1.9. Why it says 1.9? I'll just go ahead on my node 1 here. There is node 2, and then I'll go node 1. Go to your application, utilities, system tool setting, your network, your interface, public 2.128. Yeah, it says 2.128. Why it is taking 1. What was that IP we got here? 1.9. 192.168, 1.9. Okay, other one is down. Okay, interesting. Let's go back here. Okay, I'll just, oh, it's not enabled. If I go back here, If I click on this system tool settings, network, and then got enabled here. Like if I go back here, it is not enabled. If I enable it here, I'll go back. I have config. Okay, now we've got 2.28. What I'll do, I'll just go back here. I don't know whether it will take. We'll go back, go next. Whether that new IP, whatever we came here, whether it will take into effect now or not, we don't know. If I do again one ifconfig, make sure that it's 2.128. Yeah, I'll just close this one. Grid infrastructure next. Yeah, that was interesting. So the other interface was not enabled and it took a random public IP. That's good. Okay, the following one interface configured subnet different than the, okay, this is 192.168.1.130. The following nodes have an interface that are configured on a subnet that is different than your scan subnet. Okay, VIPs, okay, scan or on which subnet? Let's see here one more time. Cat etc hosts 192.168.1.132.33.34. Okay, all are correct only. The following node interfaces are configured. Okay, different than scan IPs 192.168. Okay, anyway, how I had to cancel it. Before canceling, I'll just check it out. Cat / etc hosts. That looks good. On the node 1 looks good. On the node 2 cat / etc hosts looks good. Okay. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and cancel it one more time and then I'll try it out. I'll just this is my node 2. I'll go here, cancel this setup, and then run one more time. Oracle cluster. I'll just go with Ora -CLU. This is Oracle scan is the name. Oracle scan. Go next. Installer detected specified CAN. Oracle scan is configured with the dual stack address. Both IPv4 IP6 address. Be sure that scan name which you configured using a single IP address. Okay. Oracle scan. Let me see whether I just close all the sessions and then let me see whether I can at least progress now. If not, then I need to fix that. What is that dual stack? Why it is pointing with both IPv4 and then IPv6? All right, grid setup.sh. Not sure this time whether it will go proceed further. I just cleaned up. I just closed everything. Just reopened it. Next, Vara -CLU. And the scan will be like Oracle scan. 1521 is the port. The scan allows client access. Okay, host name. Well, that's all fine. Next, same thing. Be sure that specified scan which is configured with a single IP address. It's a single IP address, why it's not taking in. Let's go back here once again. ifconfig. Okay, ifconfig. Okay, that's good here. Go back and then system tool setting. Yeah, go with this one. IPv6 disabled. Okay, go here. IPv6 disabled. Go back here. IPv6 disabled. Done. So close it. Go on the other node. Application, system tools, settings. IPv6 disabled. IPv6 disabled. IPv6 disabled here. This one disabled. Disabled, right? Okay, and then go down. IPv6 disabled. Okay, now looks good. Now go back. Go next. Okay, anyway, I'll just close once again. One more time, I have config on both nodes. Looks good. I have config. Again, everything is looks good. Go back. Run it one more time. Grid setup. Okay, it's your hyphen cluster. Oracle scan is the name. 152.1 is the port. Okay, still the same issue. Let's see. We'll see what's that issue mean. Quickly, I can just close and I can bounce both the nodes one time. Power off node 1, and then power off node 2. Now we can start it again one at a time. Go back node 2. Node 1. Node 1. Okay, what about node 2? Okay, node 2 also up. Go back once again. System tools. Oh, close it. System tools setting. IPv6 is disabled. 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 Okay, this looks good here. Close it. Application, system tool, setting, network. IPv6 is disabled. 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 Okay, all done. Okay, close it here. Okay, I'll just I'll reconnect node 1. I'll reconnect node 2. I'll just do this root because that's a common procedure, right? Like the moment you restart your VMs, you have to copy that file. cp/etc resolve.conf backup to resolve.conf. Replace it. Yes. Put on the other node, and then yes, cat/etc resolve.conf. That looks good. Okay. Service named restart. Right. So do cat. Okay, looks good. Okay. So cat/etc hosts. Again, NS lookup. getting resolved. Oracle Lab 1, Oracle Lab 2, Oracle Scan. All looks good. Do it on the other node. Lab 1, Lab 2, Scan. So everything looks good now here. Go back, cd u01 app 19c grid /grid setup.sh. If it fails again, I will pause it here and then I will continue in our next class. -cluster Oracle Scan. Letting a scan name. Okay, this time it went fine. Oh, that's a mystery with our VMs. Yeah, that's a known fact. Like, whenever you're working on labs and you're doing your own network setup, so these are like common errors. Oracle lab 2 dot local domain.com, Oracle lab 2 -vip dot local domain.com. Add it here just to verify. Oracle lab 1, Oracle lab 2, local domain.com, Oracle lab 1 -vip, Oracle lab 2 -vip, local domain.com. Yes, that's fine. Go next. Validating inventory, validating private interfaces. Public, and then IPv4, I'll say private and ASM. Let's see whether it will proceed further. Because ideally it should get installer detected following nodes have interface common subnet. Installer has detected that the following nodes have an interface in common subnet that have a different interface names on the following nodes. Oracle lab 2. Okay, so it says this ENPS8. Why it is taking subnet 192.168.1.0? Let's see here. ENPS8. Okay, it is again got changed to 1.9. If I say I have config. Okay, what got changed to not enough? I need to change it here. Go back. Network system tools. Why is that do not start? Okay, let's start it. Okay, done. Go back here. I have config 2.182. Okay, done. The following node have interfaces that are configured in a subnet different than the scan subnet. Okay, I'll just cancel it. What we can do, we'll just compare with both the network setting. Node 1, okay, it is ENPS3 and ENPS9. And then I'll go back here. Go here, system tool setting, ENPS3, S9, S9 and S8, S9 and S8. Then it is ENP9. Okay, looks good here. Configure identity, DHCP, IPv6 security. Node on okay. If I click on this one, identity, DHCP, IP4 security, identity SP9. That looks good. Entity 9. This looks good. Go here. What happened to this one here? Automatic IPv6 details ENS9. Go back to node 1. Click on what? Okay, this is interface 8. 8 manual. Go back here. Interface 8. 8 manual IPv6. Okay, ENS9. ENS9 is what? ENS9 is private one. Okay, ENS9 configured. ENS9 configured. Okay, I'll make it ENS3. Apply. Go here. Go here. ENS. ENS3, ENS3, ENS8. Go here. No, ENS8. Go here, make it ENS8, and then go here, make it ENS8. Apply. Okay, 3388, and then 9. One more time, service, network, restart. Oh, okay. I'll just take a one root, new tab, SU root, Malik, service, network, restart. Done. I have config. You have 4.15. You have 2.128, 1.128, 3888. Okay, 3888. Why it is coming 3 again here? 3. 3383, and then 9. Okay, anyway, I'll go here one more time. Three, 8. Then okay, take one more session. It's your root, service, network, restart. One more time. 3, 8, 8. Three, 8, 8, 8. Okay, 8, 3, 8, 8, 8, 3, 8, 8, 9. This one become 3, 3, 8, 3. 2, 4, 15, 1, 129. Three, 3, here, 8, 3, 8, 8. Okay, make it here. 8, 3, 8. 3, 8, 8, 3. Three, 3, 8, 8, 8. 3, 8, 8, 8. 3, 8, 8, 8, 9. 3, 8, 8, 8, 9. 3, 8, 8, 8, 9. Okay, so there are like a lot of things to do with networking. So we start again. 3, 8, 8, 8, 9. Okay, I have config. Okay, node 2, node 1, 3, 8, 8, 8, 9. Okay, looks good now. Let's try this one. If it fails now, again, we'll stop it and then we'll continue tomorrow. Okay, again, restart. Three, 8, 8, 8, 9. I have config. Okay, this looks good. Node 2. 3, 8, 8, 8, 9. I have config. Okay. Next, okay. For cluster Oracle scan. Next, get the scan with the different tools. Okay, so we'll stop it here and then we'll connect tomorrow and then we'll figure it out what is the issue.